Let's talk cutting width. This is the one adjustment that's a little hard for sewers to grasp because we think of width or cutting width as like stitch width, and it actually is not. What we have is the ability to move the knife further away or closer to the needle to cut off more or less fabric that is left within the serged edge. Because that serged edge is set no matter what you're actually sewing. It's how much fabric is left to fill it in. Sometimes we leave too much and it kind of bubbles out and curves like this one here. See this 4 thread? Well, it doesn't lay flat. There's actually a tunnel that is happening inside that particular range. So if you ever have fabric that's kind of tunneling, sometimes we get, I don't see a lot of it here, but a little times the threads where they're nice and perpendicular to the edge are not. They kind of spread apart more or less, and it looks like a tension issue. This is actually kind of pulling over to the other side. See how that's kind of rolled under? This means that there was too much fabric that was trying to get left to go into this overlock. It's bulging out. Now the other problem is when people go to a 3 thread, they stitch and they sometimes say, I have these loops that are coming off or hanging off the edge of their fabric. It's not filled in all the way. So on this one, they just have the knife too close to the needle. They're cutting too much off. They just need to move the knife a little further away, let a little bit more fabric help fill that in, and then you'll have the perfect balance. So people say, well, what is the normal setting? Well, there is no normal setting. It all depends on your fabric. But we can come down here, and when I say normal, I'll just put it at 2 to start with. That's halfway between 1 and 3. So 3, when you go out to 3, you're pushing the knife away. So sometimes that's a little harder to turn than when you go from 3 to 1, because that's the pressure of the upper knife against the lower knife is like a pair of scissors. They're spring loaded. So to push it further away, that takes a little bit more turning power, and to just give it a good turn there. And then that would be way too much fabric a lot of times, but that is where we will, here, let's do this with just that single. We're set up for a narrow 3 thread right now. See what the better result is. Now I think I have too much fabric. This is where we were hanging off the edge. And see, now I can feel it. It's kind of, it's not flat, it's kind of scooped. So what I'm going to do is kind of bring it back. Let's go almost till 2, and we'll run one more until we have the edge filled in. There we go. And the edge of the fabric laying flat. Perfect. And see how nice and even all those stitches are? That's what we're looking for. So just kind of, you'll find with heavy fabrics like fleeces or denims, you're going to bring that knife all the way to close to 1, if not at 1, because remember the height of the fabric, the loft of the fabric is also going to take up areas of that cutting width. So it's going to fluff up and fill in for you. So don't leave more this way and having it to go to the height. So play around with that, and it's really not that hard once you get a few times through with different fabrics that you're working with.